Hello and happy Friday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is the PCN Game of the Week, featuring the Shamokin Indians and the visiting Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. My name is Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan Lesko. Jose Gonzalo supports us from the sidelines, and together we'd like to thank tonight's sponsors, Cunningham and Forespring, and welcome all of the Commonwealth from Easton to Erie and everywhere in between to Kent Memorial Stadium in Shamokin, Pennsylvania for the 72nd edition of the Coal Bucket rivalry between these two schools. Thanks for joining us tonight. Again, we're excited to be here as part of PCN's Game of the Week. It's week 10 of high school football in Pennsylvania, so you've had a good run thus far. We're just about to kick off here. We've got two teams in very close proximity to one another, geographically know each other very well, as we've said. Certainly the Red Tornadoes and the Shamokin Indians have played each other quite a bit. This will be the 116th matchup,
wow,
Dan, between these two schools since 1893. And as of late, it's been all Mount Carmel. The Red Tornadoes come in tonight winning 26 straight over their rival, the Indians. Now, while that's important,
yes,
what's more important is what's happened this season.
Yeah.
The Red Tornadoes come into tonight's matchup a strong 7-2. The Indians started out a little bit slow this season under first-year head coach Mark Persing at 1-3, but have since caught fire. They've won 4 out of 5 to get above 500 on the season. This is the first time in a few years both teams have been at or above 500 coming into this Week 10 matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, indicative of which way that these schools are trending. I mean, the Indians have been trending towards this kind of success that they're having this year over the past few years. And I mean, the Red Tornadoes, majority of the time they're coming into Week 10 well over 500. They're looking at top 3-4 ranking in District 4. But you're right. I think these teams are a lot more evenly matched this year than they have been in years past. And I think we're in store for a really nice football game tonight.
And as the night goes on, we'll talk more about that Red Tornado offense. But here we go. We're underway. Blessing for the Red Tornadoes. This kick is going to be taken by Pencil, and they'll sweep it to Steele across the right side. He's over the 25. Will be dropped by John Morganti, number 30, who's having himself a nice season here for the Red Tornadoes. It'll be 1st and 10 Indians.
Yeah, Jim, Morganti did not take the fake there, or kind of take the bait on that sweep. As soon as that sweep was handed out, he started to close the gap there and got Steele from behind. I mean, he's got some speed.
Indians will come out. It's a bit of a full house backfield. They'll bounce around. Steele is in the shotgun. That's Gink to his right. He's going to hand it to Gink. Off the left side, he's going to be met in the hole by Maddox Reed and dropped for a short gain. Excuse me, that was Ben Miller.
Yeah, I think Miller and Reed both there on the play, but a good job by the Red Tornado defense. But great push there by Gink, getting what he could there. I mean, he pushed ahead for 6 yards, it looks like. So nice little gain there to start things off.
Gink comes in tonight as the Indians' leading rusher on the season. 87 carries for 676 yards and 7 scores. The Indians will flip their formation. The Red Tornadoes will as well. Steele pitches to Gink again. Gink's got some space off the right side. He'll have a first down out to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, and again, the Indians seem to like being, doing these shifts at the line. I think they're trying to catch the Red Tornadoes off guard, have them moving. They're shifting, and then they're getting into their play pretty quickly here. So I think that's maybe something they've seen on film. They come out, see the way the Red Tornadoes are lined up. They want to flip the formation. They want to move guys around. Anything to keep this tough Red Tornado defense off balance.
It'll be Gink again. And that time, number 9, Max Crick, will grab him from behind. He's a freshman. And it'll be finished off by Shimko. And it looked like Widener.
Yeah, it looked like Karicki got him there a little low, and Gink wanted to kind of push forward, but he ran into the waiting arms there of big number 77, Noah Shimko, and didn't have much room to go after that.
The Red Tornadoes certainly happy to have Shimko back this week. Missed last week with an injury. 2nd and 8 for the Indians. And it'll be Gink again. This time he's going to try to get the edge. He cuts it back inside, and he'll keep pumping his feet. A nice gain out to around the 47-yard line. He'll be third and about 2.
Yeah, Jim, and Gink, I mean, they have him listed 5'9", 160. He's not a big kid, but he runs tough. I mean, his initial contact is hitting him, usually 1 or 2 yards across the line of scrimmage, and he's pushing ahead for 3 or 4 more. So credit to him for keeping that low center of gravity, keeping those legs driving.
Twins receivers to the left for Steele, but it'll be Gink once again. He's hitting the backfield initially, but fights through, and he'll have a first down based on his forward progress into Red Tornado territory. So not a whole lot of variance here from the Indians thus far, Dan.
No need. I mean, you get the 6-7 carries from Gink. You got 2 first downs, and the chains keep moving. I wouldn't go away from it until the Red Tornadoes find a way to stop it.
Again, 87 carries through 9 games. So about 9.5 carries a night. And as you said, Dan, he's up for 6 or 7 already here in the first 3 minutes of tonight's ball game. Steele will keep this one himself off the right side, and he'll have a nice gain, bring up 2nd and 4.
Yeah, and I didn't get a look at the backfield there if that was a direct snap or if that was just a wildcat set from the Indians there, because you mentioned Latshaw's normally in there at quarterback, but we've seen Steele in there from the beginning here.
So it looks like it's Price and Delbaugh to the left. Gink goes in motion. They'll pitch it to him, and the ball's on the ground. Here come the Red Tornadoes now. Gink will be dropped in the backfield by another freshman standout in that Red Tornado defense, and that's Jalen Delaney.
Yeah, I mean that's a great job by Delaney. We mention this every week. Normally on kickoffs or punt returns or something like that, but when that ball hits the ground, it turns into a fire drill out there. Delaney kept his contain, sent Gink back the other way, and then chased him down and made a great tackle.
3rd and 15 now for the Indians as they go back inside their own territory at the 46. Pencil split to the right. Steele the throw. He looks that way. It's high. And that'll bring up 4th and long. And the Indians will send on the punting unit.
Yeah, I mean, the Indians had the recipe there. They had things moving in the right direction on that first drive. One small hiccup, that fumble, put them behind the sticks, and the Red Tornadoes took advantage of it there. They got some really good coverage there. Steele's throw went a little high, and now we're going to see the Red Tornado offense after this special teams play.
Hockenbrock will punt to Diaz and Kimzel. It's in the direction of Kimzel, and he'll let it bounce out of bounds. So nice directional kick by Hockenbrock. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at their own 19-yard line.
And now we'll get to see this Red Tornado offense, who's been nothing short of spectacular over the last 5 weeks, Jim.
Well, and we talked about it before. The Red Tornadoes have played football for over 130 years here.
It's a long time.
This team right now is averaging 44.2 points per game and 466 yards per game. Both would set new school records.
It's impressive. Impressive numbers.
And so we'll see the Red Tornadoes line up. They are a much more open offense this season as opposed to years past. Number 11, Cole Spears, the quarterback. Luke Blessing to his left. And it'll be Blessing, a Red Tornadoes 1,000-yard rusher. He'll be dragged down around the 24, give him 5.
Yeah, that's, I mean, if the Indians want to have success tonight, they've got a lot to combat with this Red Tornado offense. But the first thing you need to do is you need to try to shut down that run game of Luke Blessing. And, I mean, that is a tall order in and of itself.
And no sooner do I talk about the Red Tornadoes being open than they go back to the old standby, the shotgun double wing, and they like it because it works. That's number 10, Xavier Diaz, have the first down across the 30.
Yeah, it looked like Hockenbrock was in there on the tackle for that one. But again, you mentioned it, and just how quickly the Red Tornadoes get in and out of that. They tighten things up, and then they open things right back up. They get their first down. They get what they wanted. Let's go right back to opening things up here and giving defense different looks.
It'll be Blessing again. And he'll be out over the 35, so give him another 5. And the Red Tornadoes are, as you like to say, Dan, staying on schedule.
They are staying on schedule, and that's another, Blessing. He comes through that line, and he's always looking for that cutback. He's looking to see where that open lane is. The Indians so far are doing a good job of keeping him contained as much as they can.
Spears throws for the first time, and the Red Tornadoes have a nice screen set up. And a good tackle by Logan Steele, or else Diaz may have gone the distance.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of purple jerseys in between Diaz and the end zone. But Steele, I mean, we've talked about the speed and the breakaway speed of Diaz. Steele, credit to him for chasing Diaz down as he was kind of working his way through the traffic there in the middle.
Blessing one more time off the right side. The Indians do a good job blocking that up. For a short gain, it looks like it's going to be Delbaugh getting off the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, Delbaugh does a good job there. We see Delbaugh playing kind of an outside linebacker / defensive end position there. He does a good job of shutting down his edge wherever he's lined up, and now he's bouncing out to corner, so he plays all over the place.
Blessing and Diaz in the backfield. Coming into tonight, Diaz averages 16.4 yards per touch, and as you watch him kind of do his thing yet again, you can understand why. We'll get out to around the 42-yard line, bring up third and about 4.
And again, we mentioned Red Tornadoes staying on schedule. I mean, the upside for this offense is because they have the big play capability of putting the ball in the air this year. They don't really have to stay ahead of the sticks, but 3rd and 4 is a very manageable down for them.
And they'll snap it to the up man, Al Bailey, and Bailey will have the first down inside the 35. So that's always an option there for the Red Tornadoes as well.
Yeah, and Bailey did a good job handling that snap. It looked like it got on him kind of quick there. He had to one-hand that and pull it in, but still kept that forward momentum and kept his body and the line pushing there to get that first down.
Spears to Blessing. Blessing off the left side. He stays that way this time. We get inside the 30, down to around the 27. And again, give him another 4 or 5 yards.
And again, I'm going to keep mentioning it, Jim, because it's big. I mean, normally throughout the game is when Blessing starts to find that crease, whether he's going to go outside, inside, stay up the middle. So we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout.
Spears was looking for Belichick a little high. Will fall incomplete, bring up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, that was well defended there by the Indians' number 1, Ryland Price, right on Belichick's back there. But I like the idea. We've had success running the ball in this drive. Mix it up a little bit, throw that pass in there, keep the Indians' defense guessing.
The Red Tornado offensive line does a good job of keeping Spears clean, while also opening those holes for Belichick, Blessing, and anybody else the Red Tornadoes throw back there. And it'll be Blessing, and he'll have the first down. Will be very close if he doesn't. All right, there it is.
Yeah, that's another good run. And again, if the Indians want to have success, they're going to have to take those 4 or 5 yard runs from Blessing. They're just going to have to keep them from turning into 17, 18 yard rushes. When he does find that, he's been able to find that crease once he gets through the initial line of contact there.
The Red Tornadoes go Shimko, Spears, Herb, Lamas, and Delaney left to right. Across that line. Spears is going to throw, and it's a great route run by Diaz.
And a great catch.
Great catch. To see, Spears had to throw that ball so far from one side of the field to the other, but there was enough zip on it. He picked up about 6.
Yeah, I mean, the footwork there by Diaz to just stick his foot in the ground and stop and turn around. But then to hang on to that ball with number 10 from the Indians, Andre Bell, on his back was impressive.
There goes Blessing again, and he's not going to get the edge. A nice play again by number 4, Logan Steele. A sure showing himself to be a sure tackler early tonight.
Yes, Steele seems to be all over the field. I mean, he's doing it on both sides of the ball. So we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout this game. We'll see now. Third and medium, 3rd and long here with 9 yards to go. We'll see if the Red Tornadoes decide to put the ball in the air. Again.
3 receivers to the left, a single receiver to the right. The screen is set up for the Red Tornadoes. Blessing has blockers in front. He's got the first down. He's still on his feet, and it's a Red Tornado touchdown. 3 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first quarter. It's 6-0 Red Tornadoes on a 20-yard screen pass.
But there's a flag back here at the 35. I'm thinking maybe, you know, there were only purple jerseys and Spears back there on the screen, so we'll get the call here from the officials. See what's going on here.
Well, I'm curious if it's against the Indians. The Red Tornadoes have sent out their kick team.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think is roughing the passer. There was the Indians' defensive line and Spears back there, and once Spears let go of the ball, obviously we all looked to the wall of Red Tornadoes that were out there in front of Blessing, and then Blessing doing his thing at the end. But we'll get the call here once they sort it all out.
Official. It is a roughing the passer against the Indians. So I would imagine the Red Tornadoes have the option to assess this on the kickoff.
It appeared that he pointed towards the goal line there, but they're not moving the football, so I think it is going to be assessed on the kickoff.
It's a little more administrative work there, perhaps, than anticipated, but nevertheless, it gets sorted out, and Robert Shoppy on to attempt the extra point. Snap, hold, kick is left. So it'll stay 6-0 here at Kent Memorial Stadium. And if you want to keep up to date with PCN's PIAA Championships coverage and other programming on social media, you can follow PCN on Facebook and Twitter for updates, sneak peeks, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. So again, don't forget, this is the game of the week on PCN. It's being broadcast through WKMC TV. It's a student-run TV studio out of the Mount Carmel area. A lot of great things are happening in the Mount Carmel area. We certainly want to recognize and give a shout out to one of Mount Carmel's freshmen, Mr. Eben Hine. Eben Hine is a freshman cross-country runner who just finished 5th in the District 4 meet earlier this week, and he's qualified for the state meet with that time. So congrats, Eben. Make sure when you see him, you congratulate him as well.
That's great. Congratulations, Evan.
So, and you see, Dan, they assessed it on the kickoff. So
yes.
Blessing scored the touchdown, and he'll now do, as he has for the last few weeks, do the kickoff from inside Indian territory.
Yeah, we'll see here. I know Blessing's got a pretty decent leg on him, so we'll see if he's going for his first touchback of the year.
That's a laser, and that's exactly what he's going to get. So nice job there.
He almost kicked that out of the back. I think it landed on the back line there.
Should take a minute to note. So that was Spears' 22nd touchdown pass of the season against only 4 interceptions, first of all.
Yeah.
But he's also one of only 6 quarterbacks now to throw 20 touchdown passes in a season here at Mount Carmel.
Wow. That's
pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. And, you know, we always like to mention, coming off of that injury that Spears had last year. You know, he coming back from having the injury last year. He came back late last season, got surgery in the offseason, and then came back and has been playing tremendously throughout these first 9 weeks plus of this season so far.
1st and 10 from the 20, steal the throw. And he's looking, and it's a nice ball. It's a laser brought down by Delbaugh. Delbaugh, the #1 receiver for the Indians on the year. 27 catches for 411 yards and 3 scores coming into tonight.
And for good reason. I mean, they have Delbaugh listed 6'3", 180 pounds. So really against the majority of the corners that you're going to see in high school football, that's a mismatch. And I mean, they took advantage of it there. Delbaugh just kind of boxed out his defender and did a good job of hanging onto the football and reeling it in.
Steele brings pencil in motion across the formation. He's going to hand it to Zakem Clinton. He'll pick up a few, but enough for a first down. Move the sticks here for the Indians.
Yeah, and Clinton's also had a good chunk of carries this year. Came into tonight with 45 carries for 355 yards and a score. So they like to spread the ball around, get the ball, at least in the running game. They like to spread the ball around.
The ball at the 32, 2:10 left in the first quarter. It's 6-0 Mount Carmel. Steele rolls to his right. He's looking to throw, and he's going to float it out, and it's caught by Delbaugh. What a great catch. There's two Red Tornadoes in the area. Steele got the ball over them, and Delbaugh went up and made a play.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the Red Tornadoes were in really good coverage there. One went for the ball, one went for Delbaugh, and unfortunately the one that went for the ball came up a little bit short, and Delbaugh went up and got that ball. So really good job of high pointing that, using his size to his advantage.
So the Indians in Red Tornado territory for the second time tonight. The ball just a hair outside the 40. And it'll be Clinton again off the right side, and there's nowhere for him to go. He'll be knocked back initially by Reed and wrapped up. So it looks like Miller, Belichick, and
Schultz was coming off the backside there. I think helped clean that one up. But that's a really good job by the Red Tornado defense to kind of come back after giving up the big play. You don't want to give up another one, and now you got the Indians going in the wrong direction there on their first down play.
2nd and 13. Steele with Clinton to his left. Steele rolls to that side. He's under pressure immediately from Reed and then Schultz. He completes it to Delbaugh. Good effort by number 1, Chase Belichick, to push Delbaugh out of bounds around the 35.
Yeah, we'll see what the Red Tornadoes decide to do here. You know, Coach Dara, it seems that he likes to dial up some pressure here in these third and medium situations. But with the way that the Indians have been running the football, I'm not sure what they're going to opt to do. So we'll have to keep an eye on these. If you see those linebackers walking up, most of the time they're going to go.
And they're going to stay. And the handoff goes to Clinton, and he's going to be close to the first down. It's a little difficult sometimes with the angle to see. I think he's going to be short. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, just short. I mean, obviously, this part of the field here, the Indians going to go for it. But, I mean, just something we could think about a little bit later. We saw in early time today, Chase Pencil, number 8, the kicker for the Indians, he's got a leg on him.
Does, absolutely.
So, I mean, he could kick. They get a little bit closer here and come into one of these situations. Don't be surprised to see him trotted out there.
And it's Steele keeping himself, and he'll have the first down as he gets around the 27 or so. We'll see exactly where they mark it, but certainly more than enough for the first down.
Yeah.
There's the official signal. It'll be at the 28.
You know, it appears Coach Persing's pretty content to take this one to the quarter.
Yeah, that's what it looks like here. So we're here at Kent Memorial Stadium, and that's the end of the first quarter. So after 12 minutes of play, it's 6-0 Red Tornadoes. Welcome back to Kent Memorial Stadium. We're going to get the second quarter started here. The Red Tornadoes lead the Shamokin Indians 6-0. The Indians have 1st and 10. They're at the 28-yard line. It's a handoff to Zakem Clinton. Makes a few Red Tornadoes miss. He's still on his feet. A nice, tough run down to around the 20, but there's a flag on the play thrown fairly early.
Yeah, pretty much right at the snap of the football there, right at the line of scrimmage. So we'll see which way this one goes here after a nice run from Clinton.
All start against the Indians. So that'll cost them 5. And Dan, I can't help but notice that was a fast first quarter.
It was. Both teams kind of keeping the ball on the ground. The few completions that we did have, or the few passes that we did have, most of them turned into completions.
Right.
So it's everybody kept things moving very, very quickly. Yeah, I mean, we're only 25 minutes in real time, and we're already 15 seconds into the second quarter. It's very quick.
1st and 15 back to the 33. And this time it'll be Gink off the left side, and he'll be swallowed up by Ryan Widener. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah. Gink, it looked like that was a kind of like an old-fashioned bend trap there. Gink took it one way, went to cut back the other way, and Widener just was waiting there for him and swallowed him up.
We'll see now. Again, the Indians they've had a lot of success when they've been able to stay on schedule so far, but have had a little more difficult time when they've gotten behind the sticks as they are now. So Steele's going to roll those right now. He's going to run, and he makes 2 Red Tornadoes miss. He stays on his feet, so no sooner than I say the Indians having a little trouble being behind the sticks, Steele says, let me solve that.
Yeah, and Jim, it looked like the patterns that the Indians receivers were running kind of cleared out the middle of the field, and Steele was able to kind of cut back and weave his way through. And Maddox Reed, it looked like, made a touchdown-saving tackle there.
So 2nd and 15 from the 33 turns into 1st and 10 from the 17. Gain of 16 on that one. And Steele will have Gink to his right, and he'll hand it to him off that left side, and he's going to lower his shoulder up the middle, get inside the 15 to about the 13. The Tornadoes will get a quick substitution here on that defensive line.
Yeah, it looks like number 55, Herb, or Bumps as we like to call him, comes out, and number 77, Shimko, goes in there. Like to rotate those big guys on that nose tackle position. It's nice that Coach Dara has the capability of doing that, keeping those guys fresh on the D-line.
And it's Steele again. A good job there. Nice tackle made by Karicki.
Yeah, really nice job there. Karicki, credit, I think it was Belichick on that defensive end that turned Steele back inside, and Karicki didn't let Steele get away from him there. Made a really nice play and kept that to a short gain, if anything.
You talked about Coach Dara on the Red Tornado side. We talked about Coach Persing on the Indian side. And interestingly enough, both Coach Dara and Coach Persing played for the high schools they coach now and played in this rivalry game.
Yeah, so it's tradition all around here.
Steele will keep that one himself, and he'll have the very close to the first down. I think he's going to have it.
I
Again,
think so too.
It's an angle thing here for me.
Yeah, I think this.
So first and goal, Indians. Now the ball just outside the 5.
Credit to Steele too. I mean, he worked hard to kind of find that little crease. I think his little head fake there, the shoulder move, is what created that crease. It held the outside linebacker and kept that hole open for him to kind of just shoot through. He knew he wasn't going to get a whole lot, but he knew he didn't need a whole lot to get that first down. And now they got 4 downs at the 5-yard line.
It'll be Clinton off the left side. He's a strong kid powering through. We'll see if the pile pushes. It looks like the Red Tornadoes are able to turn it away initially. Around, it's got to be a 2, perhaps.
Yeah. Looks like the 2 officials are kind of at different locations. One of them looks like he's at the 2, one of them at the 1. So we'll see if they kind of cut the middleman out there. But you're right, Clinton. He's a strong back. I mean, they have him listed. Zakem Clinton here, number 21, 6'1", 220 pounds. So I mean, you got a 220-pound running back in high school. There's some running backs in the NFL that aren't 220 pounds.
Well, and we saw him in early time without his pads on. He looked big even without his pads.
Yeah, he did.
But this time it'll be Pencil, and Pencil's going to be turned away by the Red Tornadoes. He'll inch ever closer, but didn't cross the line just yet.
Yeah, second effort there got him a lot closer than I initially thought, because it looked like the Red Tornadoes hit him around the 3. And I mean, credit to him, the second effort got him down, looks like at the 1, maybe even inside the 1 yard line. So not a whole lot of room here. This is where, you know, this is Red Tornadoes bring in that extra defensive lineman, and it's beef on beef here up front to see who can win it.
While it's never comfortable, the Red Tornadoes have done a pretty good job this season in these goal-to-go situations, but that doesn't matter right here, as the Indians will score. Steal from a yard out. Looks like the ball came out late, but it was well after the officials had signaled touchdown.
Yeah.
So with 7:15 left in the first half, it's 6-6, and the Indians have a chance here to take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really, really solid drive there from the Indians, aided by that big reception to Dell ball, which kind of got the Indians into Red Tornado territory, and then from there it was the ground attack.
Interesting setup here. Just a little shift from the Indians for the extra point. As Dan, as you mentioned earlier, Pencil will do the kicking. He's a left-footed kicker. You don't always see those at this level. But he'll drill that one through, and it's 7-6 Indians. Hey, are you enjoying this game? You can get more Pennsylvania high school sports action with PCN's coverage of the PIAA state championships. Stream championship games on demand now with PCN Select. So it's been an interesting, we'll call it 17 minutes of football so far, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has been maybe not exactly what you'd expect. You know, we've talked about the success that the Red Tornadoes offense and defense has had coming into this game. I mean, they've been putting a lot of points up, and they have been keeping points off the board. The Indians' game plan so far has been, let's run the ball up the middle, keep them off balance with a throw here and there, and it's been working to this point.
Well, what's interesting is we talked about this last week at the Shikellamy game.
Yeah.
The Red Tornadoes for 2 consecutive weeks, once against Southern Columbia and last week against Shikellamy, had 28 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Here we are, again, almost 5 full minutes into the second quarter, and the Red Tornadoes have only had 1 possession.
And that's the other thing, Jim. I think if the Indians want a chance of capturing that coal bucket tonight, this is what they need to do. They have to play a time of possession game. And if you can keep the Red Tornadoes' high-powered offense off the field, you're going to have success.
Pencil's kick will be drilled directly at Fesniak, who will fall on it. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at the 35-yard line. Again, this is PCN's Game of the Week. We are broadcast through WKMC TV out of the Mount Carmel Area School District. It is a student-run TV studio. And tonight's sponsors from our side are Cunningham and Forespring.
And the other thing, Jim, I think that the Indians are going to want to try and do, and they did it on the first defensive series against the Red Tornadoes, they did give up 6 points, but they kept the big play from happening.
Yeah.
That slows the game down. You know what I mean? That shortens the time, or it expands the time that the Red Tornadoes offense is on the field. They're a quick, fast-paced, quick-scoring offense.
Spears' pass incomplete. It was tipped by Pencil. Now there is a flag in the secondary, so we'll see what the call is. Pencil tried to plead his case that, hey, that ball was tipped.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we'll await the officials' ruling here.
Yeah, we'll try to get the call here. Usually in that area, I'm thinking maybe a defensive holding.
Discussion perhaps trying to figure out when it occurred versus the ball being tipped. We'll get the call here. And it is a defensive holding.
And
that's got to walk off 10 yards and result in a first down.
Yeah.
The Red Tornadoes haven't gone in the air a whole lot just yet. Again, haven't had much of an opportunity. But after the holding call, they go back to their shotgun double wing set. And it'll be that man, number 10, Xavier Diaz, picking and choosing his way. It'll be upended. A nice tackle by number 6, Junior Colon.
Yes, it's It's impressive to see Diaz. I mean, how quickly he can go from 0 to full speed. I mean, he kind of hops around, jump cuts here and there, just to weave his way through, steps out of some ankle tackles, and then gets a 7-yard gain out of it. It's impressive.
And Spears employs the hard count there, and he'll get a taker from the Indians. It'll be 5 yards and result in another Red Tornado first down. So they'll walk that off. And again, if you watch the Red Tornadoes throughout the last few seasons, this is something they will employ from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it works for them a lot of the time. So I'm not surprised that Coach Dara doesn't really get away from it. Because who wouldn't take something for free, right?
Schultz split out to the top of the screen. Excuse me, that's Belichick. And Spears is going to throw, and he's looking at Schultz down the seam. And it's intercepted by Steele. Intercepted by Steele over his shoulder. He's got a good return out across the 25. He'll finally be corralled. There's a flag on the play on the far sideline. So we'll have to wait for the actual call.
Yeah, I mean, Steele looked like the receiver there going and getting that ball. It's an impressive interception. But as you mentioned, we'll see which way this call goes here. I mean, the Red Tornadoes making some pretty big personnel changes, so I'm thinking that either way that this penalty is after the interception occurred. So it will still be Indian football.
I think it's going to be a face mask perhaps against the Red Tornadoes. Official has his back to us as he's looking to the home side, but I believe that's what the call was.
And it's going to be of the 15-yard variety as well, Jim.
So it'll be an almost exact flip of the field. Or it was first, the Red Tornadoes had 1st and 10 at the 45 or thereabouts, and now it'll be 1st and 10 Indians at the 45. So simplify things a little bit for the scoreboard operator every now and again.
Yeah. Big change of pace here, though, for the Red Tornadoes. Indians looking to seize all the momentum now.
It's a low snap, but Steele does a nice job fielding. He hands it to Pencil, and there's nowhere to go for Pencil. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage and no more.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. If you want to try to have success against this Red Tornado run game, you gotta run between the run defense. You have to run between the tackles because their lateral speed all the way across, their defensive backs, even the defensive line and the linebackers have such great lateral speed. It's hard to get anything going moving sideline to sideline. You need to run north and south here if you want to have some success against the Red Tornadoes.
2nd and 10, we just passed the halfway mark in the second quarter at 7-6 Indians. And Coach Persing will take his first time out of the half, and that gives us an opportunity to talk about the PIAA Football Championships return to PCN Live in December. With multiple camera angles, commentary, and instant replays, PCN is the best place to watch the PIAA Championship Finals on cable or streaming live and on demand with PCN Select. And we're here, PCN's Game of the Week. We talked about this. It is a WKMC TV broadcast here in Mount Carmel. And from a student standpoint, I just want to recognize the students that are making this possible, giving you the beautiful sights and sounds you see tonight. So from a director, we have Ava Scavery. On camera, Samantha Zatney, Hannah Forspring, and Lucas Lubinsky. On graphics, it's Isabella Jack Cook. Replay is Landon Musser. Production assistants are Gavin Lubeski, Zoe Psycho, and Corey Carl. And our sideline reporter, who you'll meet in just a few short minutes, we hope, and photographer is Alyssa Trefsker. So the Indians come out at the timeout. Same look as we've seen for the most part. 2nd and 10 from the 45. Steele will roll. He has the option to throw, and he floats it out there, and it's over the head, incomplete. Was looking for Delbaugh. It'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Very well defended there by the Red Tornadoes. They had that underneath defender kind of fading back to underneath Delbaugh, which forced Steele to kind of have to throw that a little deep. And Belichick, that's Chase Belichick, in the defensive backfield there at the safety position, number 1, did a really good job of kind of staying on Delbaugh's back there and not allowing him to take that route as deep as he would have liked to.
Now it's a trip set to Steele's right. He's Drop back, he's under pressure, he steps up in the pocket, he's got room to go. Now there's a flag in the backfield, so we'll see what that is. But as it stands, a big rush from Steele as he escapes the pocket all the way down to the 27-yard line. But it does seem like it's going to come back. It's a hold against the Indians.
Yeah, and that one hurts there for the Indians after that. You know, you're 3rd and long, and Steele does everything he can, turns that, you know, what looked like nothing. Red Tornadoes got a good pass rush. He stepped up in the pocket. He did everything he was supposed to do as a quarterback and was able to escape to the sideline. Got a really, really nice gain out of that. And now they're going to be looking 10 yards, 10 yards behind this. They're going to be going from a 3rd and 10 that they turned into a huge first down at a 3rd and 20 here.
It had been it was a gain of 28 initially on Steele's run, but Dan, as you said, this was a rule change here at the high school level I believe it was last year, to walk off any penalties happening behind the line of scrimmage from the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
So now it'll be 3rd and 20, back at the 35. And the Red Tornadoes perhaps a little bit wiser for the effort as Steele goes back, and he's under pressure again from Belichick, and now he's going to try to escape the pocket. He's got to stop and run, and there's nowhere to go, and a lot of white jerseys over there.
Yeah, the Red Tornadoes really hemmed him in that time. There's some extracurriculars going on over there on the sideline. Looks like the officials trying to sort things out.
Nice job by the officials there. They really got themselves right involved.
They did.
Got everybody back to where they needed to go.
And no flags thrown is the big thing. I mean, being able to kind of sort that out and keep any penalties from, turning things nasty there.
And so it's a big stop there by the Red Tornado defense as they needed to get their offense back on the field. So it'll be 4th and 11. Hockenbrock will be out to punt again. And he angled his last one away from Diaz. We'll see if he does it again. And it's a low liner. It's going to bounce out of bounds. Diaz will just grab it and step out at the 26-yard line. Yeah.
So now we'll see these Red Tornadoes take the field here again. I mean, and again, it's only their 3rd offensive series. Their 3rd offensive series. As you mentioned earlier, that against Southern Columbia 2 weeks ago and against Shikellamy last week, they had at least 4 possessions in the first quarter in those 2 games because they put up 28 points, 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, the Indians are doing everything they can to shorten this game, and that's what you have to do against a Red Tornado offense that's as potent as this one.
So the Red Tornadoes will stay. This is kind of a hybrid version of their shotgun double wing and their open set without Bailey in that H-back slot and Diaz and Blessing behind. It'll be Diaz, and Diaz will jump cut out across the 39. Did he get across the 40? He'll have a first down, it looks like.
Yes.
So he got at least the 40.
Yeah, I mean, that was something a little different there, a different wrinkle we've seen from the Red Tornadoes with the 2 backs, kind of to each side of Spears, and the delay, a little bit of a draw, trying to take advantage of the aggressiveness of this Indians defense.
And now it's Blessing. And there goes Blessing, and now he stays on his feet. It's going to be a foot race. And Blessing's going to go in for the 2nd time tonight. No flags on the field. That is a 60-yard touchdown run for number 24, Luke Blessing. And the Red Tornadoes are back on top, 12-7 with 4:54 remaining in the first half.
And that's exactly what the Red Tornadoes needed there. They needed a big play, and who do they go to? They go to their playmakers. You have Diaz get you the first down on your first play, and then you go from the Lightning to the Thunder, and Blessing just turns that gas on. He fights his way through the middle and then hits the gas pedal and just beating the angles, kind of weaving in and out. Because sometimes Ryland Price is a quick kid chasing him down, but he was able to kind of weave in and out and get that in for a big six there for the Red Tornadoes, and now the Red Tornadoes going for 2.
And Spears will keep this one himself. And is he stopped short? Did he get in? We haven't learned of a signal yet. He did not get in, so it'll stay 12-7. And after giving up the big run, give credit to the Shamokin Indian defense as they pulled together and keep the Red Tornadoes from tacking on anything more.
Yeah, and after all that time, the first quarter, the first drive, I mentioned how, Blessing, he usually takes him a little bit to kind of find that crease. That time the crease was straight up the middle. He stepped through a couple arm tackles and keeping his balance in the secondary and stuff like that, as guys are sweeping at his ankles, keeping his balance, staying upright, and then just the foot race, winning it to the end zone. It's an impressive run all around. And credit to that Red Tornado offensive front, too, for giving him the hole to get things started there.
Yeah, and we talk about that every week, where the Red Tornadoes have such a great rushing attack,
yeah,
and they're able to throw the football because Spears gets to stay upright. And while you're in the heat of the moment and the ball's flying all over the field and points are being scored, you don't always get that opportunity to stop and say, hey, give thanks to the big guys up front. But the Red Tornadoes have some good ones.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you normally expect. This is like it has been, up to this point at least, a traditional, and we talk about tradition a lot with this cold bucket game, but this has been a traditional cold bucket game. It's been downhill running, kind of power against power for both teams up to this point. And, just under 5 minutes left to go in this half.
Good kick from Blessing. Be taken by Gink at around the 18. He's going to go across the field, and he's going to be hit and stuck and dropped.
And that's Morgani again, Jim.
And Morgani just knifed through that Indian return and made a beeline for Gink.
He did. I mean, and normally if you see a guy kind of getting that coming from the backside, you think he can't have the angle. There's no way he can have the angle. Somebody would have picked him up. But he just kept his nose down, couple side steps to sidestep some blockers, and I mean, made a great stop there, because it looked like Gink had some blockers set up for him over on that left side.
So we'll see how the Indians respond. Pencil comes in motion. They'll hand it to Gink. A good run by Gink. He'll get out for a first down over the 30.
Yeah, nice run there by Gink to get things started here. And I mean, with the way the Indians have been moving the football and their drives kind of eating some clock. Realistically, five minutes, they could take this to the half and try to get some points on the board right at the end. Keep the Red Tornadoes from getting the ball back if they play clean here. Red Tornadoes definitely going to be kind of swiping at the ball, looking to cause a turnover.
Hard count from Steele. No offer from the Red Tornadoes. We'll take and give it to Gink again. This time Mount Carmel stands him up. Gain of maybe 2, although he'd been marked short of the first down initially on the previous play, so he does pick up the first down.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it appears that Coach Persing, in no real rush with 4 minutes, under 4 minutes now to go, to kind of move things along here. I'm sure that is, by design. If they're able to move the ball down the field and get into scoring position, he doesn't want to give the Red Tornadoes the ball back with any time.
Steele the throw. He goes straight back, throws it across the middle. It's incomplete. Was looking for Pencil. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and there was a lot of traffic there that Steele threw that ball into. And credit to him for finding the windows. Pencil was the only person that got his hands on that ball, but there was a lot of heat kind of bearing down on him there.
So again, Dan, you mentioned Coach Persing perhaps being okay with kind of running this clock out and trying to score with a little time left. Part of that has to be because the Red Tornadoes will receive the kick in the second half.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if you can avoid any opportunity for them to double up, and it's Gink again off the left side, and second verse, same as the first for Gink, as he'll get back to the line of scrimmage and no more. We'll bring up 3rd and long.
And now under 3.5 here. This is where, we kind of start looking at when does Coach Dara want to start using his timeouts. There's plenty of time left on the clock, so he doesn't have to use them yet. But this is the position where if they get a stop here, you think that Coach Persing's definitely going to take his time getting the punt unit out. So maybe Coach Dara uses a timeout then before they take the field for their offense.
Steele drops straight back. Red Tornadoes kind of let him throw, and he's going to float it out there. And it is caught, I believe, by Pencil.
Yeah.
He went up and got it. A great pitch and catch down into Red Tornado territory. It'll be the 46-yard line. So on 3rd and 10, they'll pick up about 24.
Yeah, I mean, Chips, that ball had some hang time to it. That ball was in the air for a while. 3 Red Tornado defenders were bearing down on Pencil, and you're right. He just went up and got it. He took the contact and went to the ground with that ball. Credit to him for making a great, tough reception.
And it's Gink again, and he's grabbed from behind immediately. I saw the arm before I saw the jersey, but it belongs to number 9, Max Karicki.
Yeah, really good job there by Karicki. It looks like, I'm not sure, and I got to keep an eye on the offensive line here. I'm not sure if the Indians are pulling their tackles to the play side, or if they're just kind of, they're climbing to the second level. But you got to get a hand on Max Karicki. He's quick. You don't want to give him a free run, even if the play is going to the other side.
Under 2 minutes remaining here in the first half at Kent Memorial Stadium. The Red Tornadoes lead 12-7, but the Indians driving. And it's a good ball by Steele to Delbaugh. He dropped it in a bucket. And it's going to be 1st and 10 Indians down inside the 25. They'll give them the 21.
And you know, Jim, that's not something that we see the Red Tornadoes do very often, is play a zone. And I mean, in the defensive backfield there, that's exactly what happened. Delbaugh ran that corner route to the hole in the zone. And Steele, you're right, he dropped that ball in a bucket. That was a beautiful pitch and catch there from Steele to Delbaugh to put the Indians threatening here.
And we haven't talked about it a whole lot. The Indians are a young team. Steele's a freshman. Certainly not playing like one tonight as they hand it inside to Pencil. And Pencil makes some Red Tornadoes miss, and now he's into the end zone. And it's 13-12 with 1:23 left.
Yeah, and wow, Jim. I mean that was a quick change there. You get the big play, and then the Indians just came back and followed up the big play that passed to Delbaugh with, hey, we're gonna hit you with our speed guy here, get him to the outside. He didn't have the outside, but found the crease up the middle. It looks a lot like the Red Tornadoes offense when they're running that outside kind of sally there with Diaz, just finding that crease up the middle. Pencil found that crease and got into the end zone.
Pencil's kick is no good. So it'll remain 13-12 Indians.
But now, the downside to the Indians scoring so quickly is now they're going to look to their defense to get a stop here before the half. As you mentioned before, Red Tornadoes receiving the second half kickoff with a real opportunity to double up here. They could score with little to no time left and then get the ball back and try to score again.
See, the Red Tornadoes have had a lot of success returning kicks this season.
Yeah.
The Indians have done a nice job of not giving them that opportunity with the way, whether it's punts or kicks, the way it's gone. Again, the Indians' first kickoff tonight was a line drive at Fesniak in the second line, and both punts have been kind of angled away from Diaz.
Yeah, but just a reminder, on the other side there, opposite of Fesniak, is number 30, Johnny Morgani, who has 2 special teams touchdowns to this point this year, one of those being a kick return.
Pencil, this is a high kick. It'll be Kimsel at the 11. And now he's got some space, and he'll run through a tackler and get a good return to get the Red Tornadoes started outside around the 36-yard line.
And that might be you like seeing Kimsel. We talked about it before. Kimsel, sophomore, 5'8", 165 pounds. You like seeing those guys put their shoulders down and kind of take the contact, run through tacklers. That might be the spark that the Red Tornadoes need to get their offense moving here quickly to try and get some points before the half.
Coach Persing is going to take his second time out of the half to try to set his defense here. Again, the Red Tornadoes down a point here on the road, but have about 75 seconds left here in the first half to see if they can do anything about that.
Yeah, you mentioned to set his defense there. But that's almost, again, I could be misreading things, but that's almost one of those basketball timeouts. Like, hey, they got good field position here. There was a nice return. He put his shoulder down, kind of laid the lumber a little bit. Let's kind of slow this momentum because we got a lot of noise coming from that opposing sideline there. They're revved up and they're ready to go. Let's slow things down here for his defense. And I think that's what he's going to tell them. Play conservative, rush the passer, stay in your lanes, do your job on defense.
You mentioned noise. There's a lot of noise everywhere tonight, and this is a great venue. This matchup between these two teams, Shamokin and Mount Carmel, for the PCN Game of the Week. And again, we're just thrilled to be here. We're thrilled you're with us. Ball right at the 36-yard line. Spears in shotgun. He'll have Diaz and Blessing behind him. Spears is going to run the option with Diaz. Pencil does a good job reading it and forcing Spears inside. He'll be dropped by Steele.
Yeah, but that's still a very nice gain there from Spears. And now you see the Red Tornadoes. We're going to see the pace from them here. Coach Dara doesn't want to have to use his timeouts. He wants that clock to be stopped with a first down.
Second and about 3. Spears will give it to Blessing. And now they give it to Diaz. And Diaz is knocked out of bounds. It'll stop the clock, and he'll get the first down on that one.
And what a job by Pencil. Reading that, not biting. Looked like the entire Indians defense was going with Blessing to the far sideline. Pencil saw it all the way and knifed behind Spears there to knock Diaz out for a short gain. But again, as you mentioned, enough for a first down.
Red Tornadoes need to go 53 yards in about 48 seconds if they want to get in the end zone here. Spears will throw straight back, and he's going to go up top. He's looking for Schultz, and it's knocked away, intercepted. Delbaugh backs it to Pencil, and Pencil's got a good return on. He's out to the 45-yard line.
What a play, Jim. I mean, Delbaugh seemed content to just knock that ball down. He just threw one hand at it, but that tip right into the waiting arms of Pencil, who was also out there in coverage. And, I mean, this is a huge change of pace play. Now, the unfortunate part for the Indians, 1 timeout remaining. The Red Tornadoes need maybe 1 stop here, and I think they'll be able to go into the half with the Indians just threatening and not putting some more points on the board.
Now, the Indians have shown an ability to do 2 things here offensively that will aid them in this situation. Number 1 is Steele can run.
Yeah.
Number 2, they can go and get jump balls.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Red Tornadoes need to be on alert here. Again, only 1 timeout, but a first down will stop the clock. Steele's going to go across the middle. It's Delbaugh, and he'll have the first down. It's a great ball, right on time and on target. The Indians will get up to the line quickly here, as once the ball is set, the clock will pick up again. Right now it's stopped with just under 31 seconds.
And the Indians could be holding on to that 1 timeout if they can get in the field goal range here. Give Pencil a shot.
And they're going to call the timeout now. Coach Persing doesn't look thrilled with that one. It cost the Indians about 10 seconds of game clock here between when the clock restarted and when the timeout was called.
Yeah, you see there's a little discussion here with the head referee from Coach Persing.
And so now the situation changes just a bit here. The ball is at the 34. The Indians have shown an ability to move it. I think that's not a concern from them at this point, but that 20.7 seconds left in the half is.
Yeah. Yeah, now they need it. They need a first down or to get out of bounds, or they may only have about 2 plays to run if they can't do either of those things.
Now, Dan, you've been in those huddles before. You've been in this game. Is Coach Persing calling 2 plays?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the only thing that you have to remember, though, you did mention Logan Steele, freshman. Sometimes it's, hey, run this play. If it works, run it again. Or clock play is definitely always in there, too.
Sure.
Get everybody up on the line, make sure everyone's set, and stop that clock.
Always an emotionally charged environment when these two schools get together. And if the Indians are able to do anything in the next 21 seconds, I think the roof might go off this place.
Yeah.
Steele drops back. He's under pressure. And he's sacked
And
by
that's-
Belichick. What a huge play.
Yeah. And what do the Red Tornadoes need to do when the going gets tough? They go to their playmakers, and Belichick's the guy.
And they get set and spike it, so 2.3 seconds left. They're going to get one play here. There's some discussion on the field. Not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't see a flag anywhere or anything like
But
that.
there's a lot of coaches on the field here.
Yeah,
This isn't a timeout.
No, I don't see a flag. I don't see. Yeah, you're right. The Indians coaches are approaching midfield.
Yeah.
It's 2.3 seconds left. No, again, no flag. Nothing else here. And the play clock hasn't started yet.
No, and I'm not quite sure why. Now there's going to be a flag against the Indian sideline, I believe, here.
Wait and see the official call. Now, if it's a sideline infraction, that's not always a penalty right away, right?
Yeah, but it depends on what kind of sideline infraction it is.
So that is what is called. It'll just be a matter of whether or not they walk off the yards. So I think oftentimes you get a warning the first time around, right?
Yeah, the majority of the time. But it does. I mean, it appears that the official with the football is pointing in the direction like he's going to be walking off some yardage here. So we'll get the final call.
There's still a lot of communication going on that far sideline. Wait. The official has not picked up the football yet.
No, I think it looks like they are just going to. It is just going to be a warning then.
So here we go. Now, barring a defensive penalty, this should likely be the last play of the first half. The Indians lead 13-12. They have the ball at the Red Tornado 41, and Steele's just going to hand it off to Gink. And Gink will run hard, but he's going to be down at the 30-yard line, and that is how the first half will end. It's week 10, and PCN's game of the week is the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes at the Shamokin Indians, and after the first half, the Indians lead 13-12. So we'll be back in just a bit with the second half. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the PCN Game of the Week here at Kent Memorial Stadium in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, where the Shamokin Indians lead the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes 13-12 after the first half of play. It's been an interesting half, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this the Indians seem to have an answer for all of the Red Tornadoes kind of nuances and things that they do offensively, and the two turnovers, the very out of character from this Red Tornado offense. But the Indians, taking advantage of their opportunities and, taking this game halftime with a lead.
Well, I think one thing you pointed out, and at this point we almost have to assume it's by design for Coach Persing, is the Indians have certainly shortened the game and are limiting the number of possessions that will be available to this very explosive Red Tornado offense.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what you have to do, and giving the Red Tornadoes the ball back with the game being as shortened as it is, and especially keeping it close / taking a lead. That this is the second lead that the Indians have had in this game after the Red Tornadoes started off the scoring. Then the Indians came back and answered, went up 7-6. Now they're up 13-12. It's forcing the Red Tornadoes' hand, kind of giving them the ball with less time and a little bit more pressure on them, forcing the Red Tornadoes to get away from what they like to do. Mixing the run in with the pass. They've been throwing the ball a little bit more, which has turned into those 2 interceptions by the Indians.
And we talk about it all the time. Football is certainly a team game, and no one kind of succeeds on their own. But if you look at both sidelines tonight, each side have their own individual who's, I think, been worth a little bit more than his 1/11th. On the Red Tornado sideline, we're looking at Blessing responsible for both Red Tornado touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I think on the Indian sideline, you can make an argument for Pencil, but I really think it's Steele.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Steele has been the catalyst, I think, for the Indians to this point. He's been the one he's running the offense, commanding the offense. He's making the right reads with the passing game to kind of march them down the field, even though he may not be the one finishing off the drives. He's the one getting them down there. Plus, had that big interception earlier on. Earlier on there, the first one of the game, which was just seamless.
Yeah, and I think after that first half of play, there's not a person I'd rather hear from than Alyssa and Coach Dara. So we're going to kick it down to Alyssa, as I believe she's going to be able to give us some words of kind of how Coach Dara saw the first half. So Alyssa, go ahead.
Okay, I'm here with Coach Dara. And Coach, this is the last normal game of the season, and obviously the cold bucket game. So what are we going to have to do in the second half in order to keep the bucket here at MCA for another year?
I just think we got to down a little bit. Too much, and we'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. Jimmy and Danny, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. And again, so Coach Dara kind of gives you exactly what, and Dan, so I'm going to ask you to kind of give your feedback here. So we've talked about one of the cool things with Coach Dara and Coach Persing playing it.
Yeah.
You've played your fair share of cold bucket games here as well at Mount Carmel. Now, a little while ago, I won't age you, but it's been a little while. So what's kind of going through, the mindset, the emotions, what was going on in that locker room at halftime? What kind of light can you shed? Well,
I mean, we've talked about it before, and I mean, I'm sure everyone could hear the roar of the crowd here as both teams kind of came back out onto the field. It's the tradition behind this game carries a lot of weight, Jim, and it does. And credit to these kids, because you've got, there's probably 6,000-7,000 people here watching this game tonight. Being 17, 16, 18 years old, you don't have a lot of that kind of pressure on you throughout and you've got the weight of your entire community, on your back. So it's a lot of pressure, and I think that some teams sometimes they can kind of fade under that pressure. But this Red Tornado team, and the other thing is the weight of how many years you've had that bucket. We've talked about it before, the law of averages. Eventually you flip that coin enough times, it's going to come up the other way. And every, senior class here as a Red Tornado, you don't want to be the team to lose the bucket. So I think all those things combined together, plus this being week 10, there's always the possibility that you're looking ahead to next week You know, it's been a great week. You know, it's Halloween's, you know, coming up. It's always this time of the year that you're playing in this game. There's a lot of weight there. I think exactly what Coach Darris said. We need to calm down. We need to settle in a little bit for the Red Tornadoes. And the offense has an opportunity to start the game, start the second half here with the ball. Got to go down and get points.
Well, interestingly enough, you talked about tradition. You talked about even the time of the year. One thing that we haven't really mentioned, because thank goodness it hasn't been a factor so far, is it is unseasonably warm.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a game time kickoff, game time temperature around 68 degrees. Right now, it's about 66. And as I'm sure you can see from wherever you're watching, at Kent Memorial Stadium, they've got some really nice turf here,
yes,
which is beautiful and it's well kept. But if memory serves me correctly, Dan, it's also going to be a little bit warmer even down on the playing surface than it is up here, you know, up in the atmosphere.
Always, yeah.
Call it that.
Yeah, it always is down there on the field. It's a little bit warmer on that turf. It holds the heat a little bit more. But again, you know, getting ready to start here the second half. You know, I think both teams on both sides, you got to block out all of that noise. You know, you have to try and block out the noise of 6,000 to 7,000 people here in attendance, and you know, block out the weight, and just play your game, play your brand of football, and we're going to see a great second half here.
Pencil looks to get us started here. In the second half of PCN's Game of the Week, brought to you by WKMC TV and sponsored locally by Cunningham and Forespring. And Kimsel gets a good return up across the 35. It'll be 1st and 10, Red Tornadoes around the 38-yard line. And
again, another really good return there by Kimsel, just getting up in that briar patch, going straight up the middle there. That's something I learned from Coach Carmen. I'll never forget it. You know, getting up in that briar patch.
So we'll see how the Red Tornadoes answer here. Again, the Indians haven't had too many answers for the Red Tornado offense other than the turnovers.
Yeah.
Which, again, are important. Let's not discredit those.
Absolutely.
But the Red Tornadoes have been somewhat of their own worst enemy offensively. And we'll see how they opt to start the third quarter.
Yeah, I think that you know, that pressure that I mentioned earlier kind of puts a little bit more on the signal caller, the quarterback. You want to force throws. You want to make the big play. I think Spears going to settle in here in the second half, and we're going to see that real balanced offensive attack here from the Red Tornadoes.
We're going to start with Blessing, and he's going to be hit in the backfield immediately. That's like number 11, Caden Parker. It'll be no gain for Blessing.
Yeah, and it's not very often that you see Luke Blessing stopped by the initial defender. So credit to Caden Parker for taking the shot from Blessing at full speed there and hanging on and keeping him to no gain.
It'll be Blessing again. He'll get through the first tackler, fight through the second. It'll be Junior Colon ends up tripping him up, and he'll be finished off by, looks like number 57, Isaac Glover.
And now we'll see with third and medium range here what the Red Tornadoes opt to do. They're going to go tight.
Diaz and Bailey in the wings to the right, Blessing to Spears' left. And it's going to go to the up man, Bailey. And Bailey have the first down. He's still on his feet. Still on his feet. He's dragged down, but not until he crosses the 40-yard. We'll get right to the 40-yard line. So on 3rd and 4, it's a big gain for the big fullback.
Yeah, and you know, we mentioned it earlier that this is, you know, that's a play that the Red Tornadoes go to in short yardage situations, but we haven't seen them do it as much this year as they had in years past. So it's more of a change of pace play for the Red Tornadoes this year.
Now it's back to Blessing. Now it's back to Diaz. And Spears is going to get a little chip there, which is all Diaz needs to get the edge, and he'll have a first down. He'll be out of bounds at the, looks like they're going to mark him right at the 25, so a gain of 15 on 1st and 10.
Yeah, really good job of Spears getting out in front of that one. And kind of, as soon as he crossed the line of scrimmage, he looked back inside. He was looking for Pencil, or that defender that was hanging around like last time when Pencil was able to kind of keep that to a real short gain. And he found him and got enough of him to spark Diaz there.
Now it's Blessing, right back up the middle, and he stays on his feet, running through tacklers. He's still on his feet, and Blessing is in his 3rd touchdown of the night, 25 yards. And it's 18-13 Mount Carmel with less than 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter.
And again, just a tremendous individual effort there by Luke Blessing. And again, we don't want to take anything away from that offensive line. They gave him that hole to get through there, to get to that second level. But just lowering his shoulder and attacking the defenders rather than letting the defenders attack him. And just staying on his feet, the concentration, the mobility that he has, the capability of staying on his feet is so impressive.
The Red Tornadoes for 2 now. And it's Blessing, and he'll be stopped again. So that time it's Junior Cologne.
Yeah.
And it'll stay 18-13. And it's kind of an odd PAT night for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah. I mean, they missed the initial PAT, and then from that point on, they've been going for 2 on the last 2 scores. So now it's, 3 touchdowns and 18 points. But we'll see the Red Tornado defense, which has just been kind of puzzled to this point by the Indians offense taking the field here.
And hey, as we talked about it, this is week 10. We're just a week out from district playoffs, and right after district playoffs, you get into state playoffs, and of course that brings the PIAA football championships, and those return to PCN Live in December. So with multiple camera angles, commentary, and instant replays, PCN is the best place to watch PIAA championship finals on cable or streaming live and on demand with PCN Select.
And Jim, we talked tradition a little bit. I mentioned it, coming back from the half. But the other thing that's kind of funny is, the way that this tradition carries, even when you're no longer on the team. I work with a lot of guys from Shamokin. One of them's over on the other sideline right now, Richie Drumheiser. We work every day together, or just about, and we talk football all year round, high school football. Until this week. This week we're sworn enemies at work, the outcome of this game is going to determine whether we're friends next week or not, at least from my side.
So Blessing will line up the kick again here for the Red Tornadoes. It's a nice kick. It'll be Gink at the 16-yard line, and he's going to try to get to the left, and he's going to be stopped again. And Dan, is that Morganti again?
Yes, it was, Jim.
Oh my goodness. Save some for the rest of them, Johnny. What a great tackle by Morganti.
Yeah, again, I mean, Red Tornadoes defense, as I said earlier, just the consistency, the kind of run pass that the Indians have been employing up to this point has been enough to keep the Red Tornadoes off balance. They're keeping the safeties, close to the line of scrimmage and then hitting that over the top. And then when the safeties move back, they're running it up the middle. And it's Coach Dara has to, I'm sure, have talked about it at length at halftime of how they're going to combat that.
And it's Gink off the left side, and he's got a good run. Pick up around 8 out across the 35.
And again, just the Indians just finding the holes, finding the creases in this Red Tornado defense. The Red Tornadoes, they play, it's a 3-4, but it looks like a 5-2 with 2 inside linebackers, and they're just finding the gaps. 5-hole, 6-hole, getting that block down, kick out, and then just enough to get to the second level. The center has to get to the second level and slow up the linebacker going over there, and they've been doing it to this point.
Steal the throw. It's a screen set up, and that's Pencil right in the middle. I think he's going to be short of the first down by a couple feet. He didn't have to get much. Well, looks like forward progress might carry the day here.
Yeah.
And it will. So it'll be 1st and 10 Indians.
But, I mean, you anticipate with the pressure that the Red Tornadoes were bringing there, that play is going to go for a lot. Credit to the second line there, the inside linebackers, and the outside linebackers for staying back and playing that and defending it well.
8:40 and counting here at Kent Memorial Stadium. The Indians have the football. They trail the visiting Red Tornadoes 18-13. And it's still, and the ball's batted. Oh. And Delaney gave it everything he had. but it falls incomplete. I think that was Belichick that got his hands on the football, though it could have been Reed. They were both in the area.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the danger of kind of the play action. You know, that you want to keep the Red Tornadoes off balance because you've had a good run game to this point. You hit them with the play action, but with the pressure that the Red Tornadoes were bringing off that edge, the play action just took too long. Steele had to pull that back and throw it immediately, threw it right into the hands of, as you mentioned, either Belichick or Reed there, got a hand on it.
And a few weeks back against Southern Columbia, Belichick really had himself a night off that end position doing just that, batting down passes. And now Steele's going to throw. He rolls to his right, and it'll be incomplete. He was looking for number 1, Ryland Pierce. Now it'll be 3rd and 10 for the Indians.
And now, Jim, I know that they've been able to, the Indians have been able to kind of hit their spots and convert these 3rd and longs up to this point. But if I'm calling the defense here for the Red Tornadoes, I'm bringing some pressure here to Steele. You got to contain Blitzham because he's able to escape the pocket. But I'd keep maybe a spy in the middle to keep an eye on Steele, and I'd bring some pressure off the edges here.
Pencil comes in motion behind the formation. They got the screen set up, and it's caught by Pierce. The Red Tornadoes are ready for it the whole time. And it looks like Kimsel's going to be the first on scene, and it'll be 4th down. And it looks like Coach Persing sending out the punt unit.
And, you know, I take that back, Jim, because the screen that the Indians ran there would have been the perfect play if the Red Tornadoes had brought pressure.
Would have eaten up your blitz.
Yes, it absolutely would have. So credit to the Red Tornado defensive play caller for keeping those guys back and preparing for that.
Good punt. It's going to over Kimsel's head, and it'll take a bounce that's favorable to the Red Tornadoes, although it's an odd, it took a left turn.
Looked like Sam Martin out there punting.
And it made a beeline for the sideline. So when the Red Tornadoes start up this drive, it'll be 1st and 10 from the 18. And just one thing I want to mention here, because we've talked a lot about the tradition of this rivalry, the history of it. But again, these two communities were very close, right, geographically, and so there's a lot of collegiality and professionalism and respect that goes through this, and in that respect, I just want to make sure we recognize all the assistance we got from Shamokin Athletic Director, Mr. Bill Clark.
Yes.
We appreciate all he did for us to help us get ready here and get us all set up and make sure this whole ship runs smoothly, so thank you, sir. And it's Diaz. And Diaz across the 20. And again, I think, Dan, you mentioned this before. Diaz he's just explosive, right?
Yeah, I mean, every time the ball gets in his hands, it looks like he's shot out of a cannon.
So it's only a gain of 3 on that one, an entertaining 3 nonetheless, but it's 2nd and 7. Spears will go back to Blessing, and Blessing will be close to a 1st down. We'll have to see exactly. I think should be a 1st down. Yep, it is. So it'll move the sticks, and the Red Tornadoes offense back in business.
Yeah, and that's another really good job there by Blessing, just knowing where he needed to get. You know, that you want to keep this drive moving in the right direction, and that's exactly what he did there. Got to the chains, fell forward for the extra yard.
And they've got that screen set up to Diaz. And the Indians are doing a really nice job of converging on Diaz from all directions, so he can't slip out the way we've seen him do it all season.
Absolutely. It looks like as soon as the corners and the outside defenders see Diaz coming in towards the line of scrimmage, they're converging. And you know, if you're an inside defender and you've got Xavier Diaz lined up outside, you always have to be keeping an eye on him. They see him coming in, and they do a really good job of kind of hemming that in.
Spears keeps this one himself, but the play was blown dead.
Fortunately for the Indians, because it looked like Spears had some room, although the play had been blown dead.
Waiting for the signal here. And the official. It'll be a false start against the Red Tornadoes, and I think just to go back to kind of put an exclamation point in the conversation around Diaz. When we talked about the Indians kind of hemming him in and not letting him get away, that was about an 11-yard gain.
Yeah.
That's where,
Right,
that's
right.
kind of where the bar is for number 10.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, well, you mentioned coming into this game 16, 17 yards per touch, essentially. So if you can keep them to 11, you're doing a good job.
So ball back to the 34 now, and it'll be back to Blessing. And he'll get over the 40. So he'll get back inside the initial line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and he just keeps fighting hard there as we got a Red Tornado down on this one.
I think that's going to be Maddox Lamas.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll see as
It looks like we've also got an Indian defender down. Oh, maybe not.
it was Steele.
Steele hops back up quickly there.
So another thing we want to do and we want to make sure we talk about tonight is the Red Tornadoes. Again, this is a game that's circled on the calendar from day one. Whenever, you know, it's kind of expected that it's going to be week 10 now, but as the season goes on, that's kind of what we see. And as excited as it is, there's one tornado that I'm sure would love to be here. Unfortunately, he's not, so just want to let Landon Adams know. If you're thinking about your buddy, hopefully all is well and you get back with us next week here. Know you always appreciate listening, and we love watching you play out there, so we'll be looking forward to seeing you back next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, we've got the PCN Game of the Week here at Kent Memorial Stadium. This is the 72nd cold bucket matchup between these two teams, the Shamokin area Indians and the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. The Red Tornadoes have had all the success of recent history. They've won 26 straight matchups over the course of the last, decade and a half, 2.5 decades. But the Indians are doing everything in their power to kind of flip the script tonight, because they trail at the moment 18-13, but led 13-12 at the half. So as Lamas is up and being assisted off the field. And he gets started here. So we'll see. It's going to be after Blessing's run. It was a pickup of 7, so it's 2nd and 8. All right, we got the whistle to play, and we're back in business. Spears to throw. The Red Tornadoes have a screen set up for Blessing. He's got blockers in front of him, and he's going to do a lot of work. Now he's got the sideline, and he cuts back. What a fantastic play, though there is a flag on the field back around the 40.
Yeah.
And based on the officials' reaction, I do think this is going to be against the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, I think so.
And it is I believe it was
Looks like
looked
he's
like
a hold. Yeah, as you said, it's hard to see here when we've got the officials back, but we'll get the official call here, holding on the Red Tornadoes.
So we'll see where they walk this off from. Now, we made the comment about if it's behind the line of scrimmage, they walk it back from the line of scrimmage. But in this case, it is still spot of the foul. So,
yeah.
Although I guess I'm trying to see, is he walking
I
now
think that's
officially?
still going to be a first down for the Red Tornadoes
yeah,
after
so
that.
even after the penalty, it's still a gain of about 8. Or excuse me, it would have been 9. So it'll put the ball just on the Indian side of the 50. And as we cross the halfway mark here in the third quarter, the Red Tornadoes lead by 5 and have the football. So they'll tighten back up. Diaz and Bailey in the wing slots to the right, Blessing to Spears' left. And it's going to go to Bailey again as the up man. And that time he's going to have to get a little sideways based on some defenders on the ground, but Bailey does a good job picking his way, and he'll get 2 or 3 when...
Yeah, and that looked like Ryland Price there was the one that kind of Bailey, when he sidestepped, kind of submarined him there, and Bailey went over the top. So, I mean, good job by Price staying on his feet and making the stop.
So 2nd and 7. And it's Diaz. And Diaz has been waiting for this all night. He's got the edge. And he makes one man miss, and he'll get tackled from behind, but a big run for Diaz. Will have a first down, and they'll say he's out right at the 20.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a gain of 26 for number 10.
Yeah, that looked like number 18, Aiden Fenazi, I think chasing that one down. Actually, I apologize. I think that was 19, Tanner Hornberger, who chased that one down. So nice job. I mean, usually when Diaz gets an open field, it's hard to slow him down from there.
And the Red Tornadoes are back on it right away. Now, there's a flag on the play, but I wonder if the Indians didn't get their substitution off the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because, the Red Tornadoes, once they get moving, they use that pace. Tackle on the play there by number 21, looked like Zakem Clinton.
So we'll wait for the... And that's what it is. It's an illegal substitution against the Indians. Well, the Red Tornadoes will take the yards there, I would assume.
The yards and get to keep the down. That's the big one.
Still a little communication going on. So as they walk it off, don't forget, if you're enjoying this game, you can get more Pennsylvania high school sports action with PCN's coverage of the PIAA state championships. You can stream championship games on demand now with PCN Select, and that's a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah.
So it'll be first and goal now for the Red Tornadoes at the 10. And Spears will give it to who else? Blessing, and Blessing is just short of the end zone. Looking for lucky number 4 on the night, and it'll be, was that Cologne or Pencil? You can tell if that was an 8 or a 6.
I don't know.
That held on for everything they had.
I think the one that cleaned it up there was Parker, number 11, but I couldn't see who had the ankle there.
And why not? Number 4 for number 24. Blessing. These are the things legends are made of here at Mount Carmel, performing in this game. And 4 touchdowns is about as good as it's going to get.
Absolutely, Jim. And I mean, you mentioned coming into this game, Blessing, 127 carries, 1,157 yards, and 16 touchdowns. So that will put him at a cool, well, actually, because one of those was a receiving touchdown.
It was, indeed.
So he had 18 total touchdowns. So that'll put him at 22 total, sorry, my math there, 22 total touchdowns here to this point.
And let him get both of those as well. So for the first time tonight, the Red Tornadoes, and there's some emotion from Blessing, and you don't always see it.
No, you don't.
He's a pretty cool cucumber, but it's hard to not get caught up in the emotion tonight.
Especially when you've accounted for all 26 of your team's points, over halfway through the third quarter here. And I mean, there's the Indians do not seem to have an answer. They don't seem to have an answer. And just something to throw in here. As we were trying to get a jersey here when Lamas went out. Number 71 was out there. We don't have a 71 on our roster because that was number 44, Ryan Widener, the defensive tackle, former fullback specialist, going out there and playing the offensive line and helping orchestrate that drive down the field there. So credit to him, getting that 71 jersey on, playing as an offensive lineman, stepping up where the coaches need him.
And again, we talked about it. Blessing, the 4 touchdowns, 3 of them on the ground, well over 100 yards, could be approaching 200 at this point. We have to kind of check in with Jose and see where we're at, but that doesn't happen without that offensive line. Lamas was in there earlier. Hopefully he'll be back at some point, but Widener steps in to join the other 4-headed monster of Delaney, Herb, Bumps as we call him.
Yeah.
Spears, and Shimko. And again, a lot of those guys pull double duty on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yes, they do.
And Blessing's kick will be taken by Pencil at about the 18-yard line. And Morganti slows Pencil down, but it'll be finished off. Was that Karicki that got in there and finished him off?
Yeah, I wasn't able to see that. I was kind of paying attention to what was going on back, but well behind the play there. Looked like somebody heading after Luke Blessing there, the kicker, who was just back there playing safety. But either way, Morgani near the tackle again on another Red Tornado kickoff. And I mean, if the Red Tornadoes offense kind of keeps moving the way they are here in the second half, we're going to be seeing a lot more Morgani tackles.
So now the Indians down 2 scores for the first time tonight, need to respond. Steele rolls to his right. He's under pressure. He's going to try to cut back. Does a nice job avoiding the Red Tornadoes, and now he's got some space, but a big shot from Kimzel saved what could have been a huge gain by Steele.
Yeah, I mean, after all that, I mean, Steele pretty much just gets back to the line of scrimmage. So that's huge by Kimzel, just staying home. And if he's in an underneath zone there, doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You're outside contain, you stay back there for screen, draw, reverse, stuff like that. You just hold your water. Kimzel didn't over pursue, and he made the play there to make a big stop.
And Steele hand it to Pencil, and there's nowhere to go. Pencil's going to do everything he can to get something, but he's going to lose a lot. It was hard to see who was the initial Red Tornado that blew that one up, but certainly Blichik's in there.
I saw 71 coming from way deep in the backfield, so Widener got upfield there and kind of closed that one off if he wasn't in on the tackle.
And with bumps, 55 double nickel over the nose tackle there, it's hard to imagine he wasn't in there too.
Yeah.
That surge came right from the center. So this is a Red Tornado defense that is much more accustomed to getting after offenses that are playing from behind.
Yeah, they're in their element now.
And the Indians got a little bit of a head start there. So 3rd and 16 will become 3rd and 21. .302 left here in the third quarter. Again, the Indians led 13-12 at the half, but in the first all but 9 minutes here of the second half, the Red Tornadoes have scored 2 unanswered touchdowns.
Yeah, now you see the Red Tornadoes making their changes here, bringing out a little bit of the beef there, going with a speed rush and kind of their nickel package here.
And the ball is up, and it's a great play by Lukoski. He gets his head around to avoid any kind of interference or holding or anything like that. It's just a great defensive play, and it'll be 4th and 21.
Yeah, and you feel, I mean, we can feel the energy in that defense out there on the field. And when that ball went in the air, all the air left the Red Tornado sideline over here. Everybody held their breath, and Kimzel just in great coverage, and as you mentioned, got his head around to avoid any sort of a penalty. And again, just the defense made the proper adjustments.
It's a high snap, but what a punt by Hockenbrock. And the Red Tornadoes are just going to get out of the way. They're going to get great field position here around the 47-yard line to start. And, we've mentioned a few times tonight, this is our PCN Game of the Week. It is broadcasted through WKMC TV here. And WKMC TV, to be able to stay on the air and do the things we do, we have weekly sponsors. And this week's is Cunningham and Forspring. So Mr. Cunningham and Forspring are both long-tenured faculty at the Mount Carmel Area High School, and they do everything they can to continue to support their students in every way, shape, and form. So we really appreciate their continued support and this has been multiple years that they've been here helping keep these games live and on the air.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we don't want to age them, but they both taught us. So they've definitely long tenured.
And speaking of long, thought Blessing had another long one there. It'll be a short gain.
Trying to
out
see
to the
who
49.
made that tackle. I think it was Steele that came up from his defensive back spot and was able to trip Blessing up.
So it's 2nd and about 6. Ball a few inches shy of midfield. Lamas still on the sideline, so Widener's still in there for the Red Tornadoes. And Spears is going to keep it himself, and Spears has some speed as well. He gets a great block from Schultz, and Spears is in from 50 yards out, and it's 32-13 Red Tornadoes.
And the route is on, Jim. I mean, this has been just a tale of two halves here. You know, the Red Tornadoes came out of halftime. They got the ball. They knew their offense was taking the field. They said, if we can take this lead back, we are not going to surrender it again. And they have done that to this point.
The Red Tornadoes will come out and once again go for two here. Well, I think one thing that we've got to talk about is we heard, thanks to Alyssa from Coach Dara, what was his message to his team? Calm down.
Yeah, calm down, settle in.
And so what do? You rely on your horses.
Yeah.
Right, in this case, you get behind Blessing. And, of course, you run that option as many times as you do, and Blessing will be stopped. The Indians have done a great job stopping those two-point conversion plays.
They have.
But you get enough of those as the night goes on, and then all of a sudden, almost imperceptibly, Spears just hangs on to one. And we talk about Blessing, and we talk about Diaz from a speed standpoint and what he brings. And I've heard rumors, Dan.
Yeah.
And I would imagine I'd imagine you can start a little argument in the locker room if you wanted to. But I've heard that Spears might be the fastest one on the team.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Mr. Diaz would disagree, I'm sure.
Yeah. We'll have to see after the season, obviously, if we can get those guys in a foot race there.
So 32-13, 2:03 left in the third quarter here at Kent Memorial Stadium in the annual Cold Bucket rivalry matchup between the Red Tornadoes and the Shamokin Indians. Now, for those of you perhaps not as familiar with these two teams out there as part of the PCN viewing network, this is a District 4 matchup. So central Pennsylvania for the most part. The Red Tornadoes, again, as we said before, come into tonight 7-2. The Indians 5-4, and the Red Tornadoes have the unique distinction and the honor of being the winningest football program from a high school standpoint in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The Red Tornadoes in their program history have won 897 games. Whew. And so when we talk about tradition, it's not just a word. It means something here.
Absolutely.
And one of the cool traditions that go on in the Mount Carmel area on Thursday nights is Supper Club. It's a very unique tradition where you have Thursday nights before Big Friday night at a local restaurant. It's been Matucci's Willow Street Cafe for a long time. His Blessing's kick is taken by Gink at the 15. And he gets a good return, and it'll be, is that Miller?
Yeah, that's Ben Miller.
Yeah, it'll be Miller on the stop. But on Thursday nights during the football season, there's a group of individuals, the Supper Club, that kind of get together. You can meet for great food, great conversation, and different folks are invited. So you have members of the football team, you have senior band members, senior cheerleaders, senior members of our TV studio here at WKMC TV, and I've even heard an invite has been extended to the state qualifier, Eben Hine, that we mentioned earlier, that he'll be in attendance next week.
Awesome.
And it's just a very unique tradition here in the Mount Carmel area, so I would encourage you, if you ever make your way up to our neck of the woods, especially on a Thursday night in the fall, make your way to Matucci's Willow Street Cafe for great food and great conversation, and a great run there by Zakem Clinton.
Yeah, tough run there from Clinton. He put his shoulder down and carried some Red Tornado defenders for a couple extra yards there. And after the Indians got a great return there from Gink, put them in good field position here, they're already in Red Tornado territory here, threatening the red zone.
1st and 10 at the 34. And Steele has a little trouble with the snap, but he picks it up, and he's quick.
He is.
And he makes a lot of Red Tornadoes miss. He can't keep his feet, but still a nice run down to around the 21 for a first down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's making something out of nothing there for Steele. You're right. It had a little trouble with the snap, but fortunately, too, you play on this turf enough, you kind of get used to those bounces. It looked like he dribbled that ball like a basketball right back up to himself there, and was able to turn that into a nice gain.
Steele has Clinton to his right. Pencils in that wing to the left. It's going to be Clinton off the left side. He's going to be driven down hard. It looks like Lukoski started the tackle, and Karicki and
looks like Belichick as well.
Yeah, finished it off. And Karicki is fired up.
Yeah, and as he should be, Jim. That's we've mentioned it so many times throughout the year so far, but that's a freshman out there playing in his first cold bucket game and playing the way he has. I mean, he's made an impact on this defensive side of the ball.
Steele to throw. It's a good ball. And it'll be down. It'll be inside the 10 for another first down for the Indians. I think that was Delbaugh again.
Yeah, it looks like about the 6-yard line there. And I think you're right. I think that was Delbaugh.
I was watching that snap, Dan. I don't know what came faster, the snap or the throw from Steele.
I was thinking the same thing. That was a fastball.
There was a little smoke on both of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on what could be the last play of the third quarter, it's first and goal at the 6. Steele keeping himself, and he's going to take a shot from Widener. Belichick will wrap him up. And we'll see what the Indians do here. They're going to let the clock run out. So after 3 quarters of play, the Red Tornadoes lead the Indians 32-13 in PCN's Game of the Week. We'll be back in 60 seconds with the fourth quarter. Stay with us. Welcome back to Kent Memorial Stadium. And the PCN Game of the Week has made its way to the fourth quarter here. The Red Tornadoes lead the Shamokin Indians 32-13. The Indians, though, are in possession of the football. It's second and goal from the 6. Looking to cut into a lead the Red Tornadoes built entirely in the third quarter. It was 13-12 at the half, and the Red Tornadoes scored 20 straight unanswered thus far in the third quarter.
Yeah, but the Indians threatening here to cut this lead, make this fourth quarter very interesting.
And Steele's going to keep it himself, and the Red Tornadoes are there for it. So now it's going to be third and goal. Looks like he got about a yard down to the 5.
Yeah, and it looked like Belichick coming off that backside there was the first, Steele was slowed down by that defensive front. But I think Belichick was the first one to kind of hop on his back there coming off the back side of that play.
Again, the ball right around the 5-yard line. The Indians, while we talked earlier, Pencil certainly can kick a field goal from here. I'd imagine the Indians are going to take 2 shots at the end zone as they trail by multiple scores. Steele's going to throw, and he's looking to the back, and it's a good ball, but great coverage by Chase Belichick. And it'll fall incomplete. Fourth down.
Yeah, I mean, Belichick couldn't defend that any better. I mean, he watched Delbaugh's eyes. When Delbaugh went up for the ball, he went up for the ball and got his hand in between Delbaugh's hands there. I mean, that's very, very well defended there in the back corner of the end zone. And I like the changeup that the Red Tornadoes kind of made there, putting Belichick, the bigger of the defensive backs, on Delbaugh down here near the end zone.
Well, I'm not sure if it was Pencil or Parker, or even it could have been Price, I presume. But there was a little bit of a rub route that went on there to give the opportunity to get the ball. And now Steele's rolling, and he's got to make a decision, and he's going to fight his way, and he's not going to get in. He's not going to get in. The Red Tornadoes stayed home. Steele ran out of room, and it's going to be first and 10 Red Tornadoes as they turn the Indians away.
Yeah, and now the offense has the ball backed up here at their own 1-yard line. So I'd imagine we're going to see some pressure from Coach Persing's defense here. But it's going to take some effort there, because the offensive line thus far throughout the game for the Red Tornadoes has been tremendous. I mean, they've given Spears time to throw, and they've opened up holes for the running backs.
And again, we don't always get to say those guys' names, so let's hit them quick. And Delaney, Spears, Shimko, Erb, and Widener for the time being. It was Lamas for a lot of the night. And Spears will try the hard count there to see if he can pick up a quick 5.
Yeah.
The Indians don't bite. Now it'll be Blessing. And just maybe a yard. And Dan, one thing, we talk about tradition.
Yeah.
And one cool thing, and this is just at Kent Memorial Stadium, that end zone inside the 20, or excuse me, inside the 5 really. There's a really iconic play in Mount Carmel history of number 25, John Veach, against the Lakeland in the 90s, breaking a 98-yard touchdown run in a state playoff game. So it's, again, we not to harp on it, but when we say tradition, we mean it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is nothing but a storied franchise playing in a storied rivalry game here tonight.
Spears, it'll be Blessing again. And Blessing just does not go down with the first defender. He'll get out across the 10. It'll depend on the speed. Probably going to be a yard short, I think so, of the first down here. So it'll be 3rd and 1 as we're under 10 minutes to play here at Kent Memorial.
And the Red Tornadoes tightening things up here. I think keep an eye on Bailey as the Indians defense has big, I think that's...
And that's exactly who it is, Dan.
But he got it.
And it reminds me, we were talking this week, obviously there's a big sign stealing scandal in the college football ranks.
Yeah.
And as you said, hey, Bailey, I think everybody in the stadium knew it was coming, but as Coach Prime from Colorado said, you still got to stop it.
Yeah, you're right about that. And the player I was trying to mention there was the nose tackle there, number 63, Hunter Wirtz there for the Indians. He's a big body in the middle there.
Spears rolls to his left. Now he's going to take off, and again, he's going to sneak out of bounds. A nice job there. I think he should have the first down if the official on our side is to be the marker.
Yeah, and he does.
So nice job there getting outside the pocket, not seeing anything he liked, and just doing what he could to pick up a first.
And that's exactly what you, and that's the progression here. It seems like, we mentioned it, 2 interceptions in the first half from Spears. He has settled in now, and he's okay with taking that, looking for the checkdowns, or just, hey, I'm going to pull it down and I'm going to run. I'm going to get what I can get. We don't have to have the home run play every time.
And this will be Spears again. He's running the option, and he pitches it late with Blessing, and a nice job there. Blessing's tackled well on the sideline, and he'll get up hobbled.
Yeah, we'll see number 21, Tanner Karicki, come in here to get Blessing a chance to get looked at here.
Blessing will go down there.
But yeah, you mentioned, I mean, it appeared that Blessing had stepped out of bounds 2 or 3 yards before he actually was tackled there, but hopefully he's all right. He can get back on the field. I mean, we talked about it. He's been the bell cow tonight. He's been the guy.
And as Blessing makes his way off the field, again, we've talked about it. The PCN game of the week here. We're very excited about it. And for you out there, all the listeners and watchers, if you want to keep up to date with PCN's PIAA Championships coverage and other programming on social media, you can do all that. So you want to follow PCN on Facebook and Twitter for updates, sneak peeks, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. And make sure you're following PCN everywhere you can. Facebook, Twitter, PCN Select, all kind of great opportunities through the network to watch a lot of great high school sports championships.
Great high school football. You're right about that, Jim. But, you mentioned the late pitch there from Spears. They did that last week, too, at Shikellamy, where Blessing actually got a little too close, fixed his spacing, and then got the pitch and turned it into a big gain again.
It's Diaz, and Diaz has another Red Tornado first down there. And interestingly enough, Dan, you talked about when Cooper Kricky entered the game with Blessing on the sideline.
Yeah.
Cooper Kricky came into tonight's game as the Red Tornadoes' second leading rusher.
Pretty impressive.
Again, Cooper, another freshman, right? And he's shown an ability to be successful out of the backfield. Multiple long touchdown runs. He's got 37 carries for 372 yards and 5 scores. And he returned a kickoff for a touchdown.
Yeah. He's just another level of the depth that this Red Tornadoes skill positions have.
And Spears is going to keep that one himself. They'll get out around the 40-yard line. So a gain of about 6.
Yeah, as you saw there on the previous play, Al Bailey came up a little bit hobbled. Max Karicki went in. Now Bailey's back out there on the field here.
The Red Tornadoes, of course, for as up-tempo as they are, they have the ability in the way this offense is structured that Spears can slow it down when it's appropriate as well.
Yeah.
And he's going to give that one to Diaz. And not a whole lot for Diaz right up the middle. And what is there, he picks up for himself. But enough for a first down.
Yeah, and again, you know, no matter how much the Red Tornadoes want to slow things down here, any time that Diaz gets the ball in his hands, it looks like they're going fast forward. You know, it's just, he hits that, he gets that ball and just takes off. It's impressive.
So the Red Tornadoes had sent Jalen Delaney in. He's another receiver in there for
Diaz, who stepped into the backfield there.
Diaz. Looks like he almost squirted out there, but he'll get down to the 30. And again, we talked about it earlier, and we want to just, it's worth mentioning it again. Through the PCN Game of the Week, it's a WKMC TV broadcast. WKMC TV is a student-run TV studio at the Mount Carmel Area School District. It's under the direction of Mr. Steve Sakaitis and Mr. Gary Trefsker. And tonight, the sights and sounds you see are being brought to you by the director, Aver Scavery. Cameras, Samantha Zatney, Hannah Forspring, and Lucas Lubinsky. Graphics are Isabella Jacook. Replay is Landon Musser. Production assistants are Gavin Lebeski, Zoe Psycho, and Corey Carl. And the sideline reporter you got to meet at halftime, and the photographer is Alyssa Trefsker. And that's Spears for another first down.
And always a good sight to see as a Red Tornado fan and anybody here on the field that likes to see good football is number 24 heading back out there on the field, Luke Blessing. I saw him get up off the bench and head to the sideline there, and I wasn't sure if the coaches were going to say, hey, listen, you've done enough today, take it easy, but I don't think he's one of those guys that you're going to keep off the field.
As the Red Tornadoes take a look at their wrist and make sure they get the call right. Spears to Diaz. Diaz is going to try to bounce that to the outside, and a nice play made.
I think that's pencil.
Yep, looks like 8 that gets off the bottom of the pile there. And another thing again, so if the result of the first, and there you go, Dan. And if the result or the score holds true for the next 6 minutes or so here, and it looks as though the two teams ahead of the Red Tornadoes in District 4 Class 2A standings are also going to be victorious, and that's Detroit Trojans and the Southern Columbia Area Tigers.
Yeah.
Looks like the Red Tornadoes are setting themselves up for a home game next week in the first round of district playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's always nice to have at least one home playoff game. You know, you like for them all to be there, but one's a good one.
And as the Red Tornadoes did a little personnel change there, Coach Derrick kind of let the clock run down and used this first timeout at the second half. So the clock stops with 5:37 remaining. The Red Tornadoes, the visiting team tonight, lead the Shamokin Indians 32-13. With the ball resting on the Indians' 11-yard line. So another thing we wanted to do here, I think would be remiss not to do, is of all the other things happening, which is a lot of fun stuff, we also want to wish a happy birthday to Ethan Urbanovich. number 19 on the Red Tornadoes. Happy birthday, Ethan. All right, so when we put it back in play here, again, it'll be 2nd and 5 from that 11, as we said. Ricky replaced Blessing. Looking to see how the Red Tornadoes. Okay, I couldn't see Diaz for a second. He was behind Widener. So
Yeah,
it looks like they're going to tighten back up.
Yeah, it looks otherwise like there are no real changes here from the Red Tornadoes there, minus Karicki being in there for Blessing.
And there's Diaz, and he's going to stay behind the blockers, and there it is. Diaz is in from 11 yards out, his first score of the night, and it's 38-13 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and again, just another great job there. The Red Tornadoes drive 99 yards there in this fourth quarter to put an exclamation point on this drive and you know, possibly this night with, you know, approaching 5.5 left to go in this game.
So as has happened most of the night, it looks like the Red Tornadoes will go for 2 again here. And one thing, interestingly enough, we came in tonight talking about how the Red Tornadoes of current don't always resemble the Red Tornadoes of yore from an offensive standpoint, as these Red Tornadoes are much more inclined to throw the football as Karicki dives over the pile for the 2-point conversion.
Second effort there.
But the reality is here, Dan, is, as the old saying goes, you kind of dance with who brung you. And when the going got tough tonight, the Red Tornadoes leaned on their bell cow and Blessing, and the Red Tornadoes have scored 6 times tonight, 5 of them on the ground.
Yeah, that's after that first one, they've all been on the ground, and it's just. You know, we talked about it, and it's been Spears, it's been Blessing, and it's been Diaz. You know, like you said, the dance with who brung you. Those are your offensive playmakers when the passing game isn't really there. You know, when the passing game's there, you bring in a lot of other names, but with the success they had on the ground, there's really no reason to go away from it.
So that score comes at the 5:32 mark. The 2-point conversion extends the Red Tornado lead to 40-13 and extends their second half point total to 28. Which again, whatever Coach Dara, and I think I said this last week, perhaps it was the week before, whatever Coach Dara said in the locker room, you got to find a way to bottle it.
Yeah, because they came out of the halftime here just raring to go.
It's very much a different team than we saw in the first half.
Absolutely.
And now as the Red Tornadoes approach, you know, the 40-point mark here, it's worth noting the Red Tornadoes have scored, I believe, at least 40 points in every game since week 5. As Blessing's kick is going to get through Steele's legs, and Steele's is going to run into Clinton, and the Red Tornadoes are just all over the place. And that's Karicki is going to drop him at about the 13-yard line.
Yeah, it is. You're right, Jim. And that's, I mean, just a great, another ball bouncing the Red Tornadoes' way there. You know, no pun intended. But that's just a bounce in the Red Tornadoes' direction. It's a great job all around there. The coverage got down there, and you know, sometimes these hops are true, and sometimes they stay down on you, and that's what that looked like that happened that time to Clinton, as that ball stayed down on him and went right through the wickets.
Just to kind of clarify the point I was making before about the points. So it was in week 4 against Milton, the Red Tornadoes. That's consequently their last loss of the season. They lost 12-7. But since then, this offense has put up 69-55. Ball falls incomplete. They put up 69-55, 54-42, 69. And with 5 minutes and 22 seconds left, there's a 40 on the board.
Yeah, well defended there in the defensive backfield there. It looked like Delball had his hands on it until he took a shot there from, I believe it was Kimsel.
Now the Red Tornadoes are going to make a change in that defensive backfield, as we'll see Morganti for the first time tonight in that role.
Yeah.
Though we've said his name quite a bit already. This is going to be Gink off the right side and nowhere to go. And I'm telling you right now, Karicki has gotten stronger as the night's gone on. And I don't mean he's playing tougher. He plays tough from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like he's physically gotten stronger, where he's not just tackling guys, he's picking them up now.
Yeah, I mean, that was Karicki with a little bit of help from Widener there, too. Just picked Gink up and carried him backwards a few yards. It was very, very impressive defensive play there.
Well, it still is good enough for a gain of 2, so it's going to be 3rd and 8. See Steele. He's going to play action, and he's going to fling it, and it's going to be overthrown. But there is going to be a defensive holding, I believe, or perhaps, depending on when they saw it, maybe a pass interference. But it's going to be, regardless, a penalty against the Red Tornadoes. That should result in a first down for the Indians.
Yeah, and just another personnel change that we didn't see here for the Red Tornadoes. Number 60, Jabari Kynes, in the game there on that defensive line at that nose tackle.
So wait for the official call here. It's going to be a pass interference. Okay, so it was when the ball was in the air. As they walk this off. Again, at the high school level, it's a 15-yard penalty as opposed to a spot foul.
Yeah.
But certainly more than enough for a first down. So now when the Indians get back on the ball, it's right at the 31-yard line, 4:32 left, 1st and 10. Steele in the shotgun with Gink to his left. That's Price split out left, and he's got Delbaugh, and he's got him. But a great play by Lukoski.
And the timing there from Lukoski as well, just to time up when the ball got there and get his hand in there, knock that one away, was impeccable. I mean, he couldn't have timed that up better.
And if you want to just talk about what this game means to these kids, we're in a 4-score ball game with 4.5 minutes left. And between Lukoski and Reed and Kimsel, they're celebrating that play like they just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That's how important it is.
Absolutely. I mean, especially, at least for the Red Tornadoes, you know, you come into this game on a hot streak, you have a little bit of a down first half. You want to show out here in the second half, so making these big plays is huge.
They're going to try to run a stop and go to Pencil, but Delaney read it the whole way. Nice coverage. It'll fall incomplete.
Yeah, that was very well defended by Delaney, and a great job, too, of spinning around and then getting into his back pedal immediately, because when he turned around, Pencil was on him, and that could have been a recipe for a pass interference call there. But he got into his back pedal right away and didn't give Pencil the opportunity to kind of create that penalty. Because a lot of these receivers now, they look like old school Kobe Bryant. When the ball's thrown deep down the field, they kind of lean in for that contact to get that pass interference penalty if they're not sure they can go get it.
Hand off to Gink here, and he'll be stuck. And that's Miller and Reed. Consequently, the second and third leading tacklers on this Red Tornado defense. Because number 1, by just a few tackles, is the other guy we've been talking about all night, number 9, Karicki.
Yeah. I'm sure Maddox Reed will have something to say about that number 2 after you remember he went down with an injury last week a little bit earlier than everybody else started getting subbed out. So Karicki had a couple extra snaps to take the lead away from him because they were tied going into last week against Shikellamy.
That's true. Reed's injury, he only had 1 tackle last week to Karicki's 6. But the Indians are forced to punt here. So again, it's a good punt from Hockenbrock. It'll be near and bounce out of bounds. 1st and 10, Red Tornadoes at the 38. And we'll see what this offense looks like as Spears heads back out there.
And, you know, we got a good chance to see it there on that punt. And I don't know if that's how it was all game long, but Lukoski has been pretty much shadowing Delball 90% of the game. You know, we talked about the size difference there, how he was giving up some space, some height and weight to Delball, but he's just been in Delball's grill all game, and you love to see it from a defensive standpoint. Your defensive backs playing like that, a little scrappy.
Look like the only change I see on the offensive side for the Red Tornadoes, it looks like Jabari Hine is out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see as Spears takes a look. Trying to see, didn't quite get to see where Jabari's at, and there's the handoff to Karicki, and we talked about Karicki's explosive, and he's still on his feet, and now it's a foot race, and he just gets tripped up.
That's
oh my
Price.
goodness, what a play by Price, because Karicki is another one that would throw his hat in the ring of fastest guys on this team.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. You're right about that. And I mean, there's so many guys on this Red Tornado team that can create plays and I mean create a spark. And there it was right there from Karicki, who almost got free.
And as the Indians take a timeout here, it gives me an opportunity to say that Kynes is out there, and it looks like he's in there for Widener.
Yeah, I think so.
So again, just we talked about it before. The Red Tornadoes have the 5 rushing touchdowns tonight. We'll wait and hear. Perhaps we'll hear from Jose tonight, or maybe you'll have to check in the paper tomorrow. I'm sure the numbers are jaw-dropping from a rushing standpoint, but that's a lot of credit goes to the big boys up front. And for the Red Tornadoes, it's been a variety of guys tonight, but it's Shimko, Spears, Herb, Lamas, and Delaney with the assist in the second half from Widener. And now, throw Kynes in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, it looked like he's at that right guard spot. It looked like
right behind him.
Cooper Karicki ran right behind him on that play there.
So 3:13 left. It's 1st and 10 Mount Carmel. The ball's at the 35. Spears takes a snap, and it's Karicki again. And the Indians do a good job blocking him up, but again, you can't totally stop him. We'll pick up about 4.
Yeah, he fought forward and fought hard. You know, we keep talking about, and on both sides of the ball, just not the biggest of running backs, but these guys, they fight for every yard that they can get. You love to see that.
They list Karicki at 5'6", 145, and I'm already excited to see what he looks like next fall after another year in the weight room.
Yeah.
Because right now, he was relying on that speed and vision and elusiveness, and it's faring pretty well for him. He's going to have a Red Tornado first down to the 25.
And just the football IQ there of Karicki, too. You know, you mentioned not a big kid. Normally, a guy like Karicki, Diaz, giving up a little bit of size to most players out there, is looking to get out of bounds. But Karicki, knowing that this is the time where we're trying to milk the clock, puts his shoulder down to end that run and stay in bounds.
Clock running under 2:20 now. Tight set from the Red Tornadoes. It's snapped to the up man. It's Bailey. And Bailey will be upended, it looks like. Number 68, Bradley Oxenrider. After he picks up maybe 6.
Yeah, another nice gain there, though, from Bailey. It's just been a change of pace play there. And the O-line does a great job of kind of just stepping in and almost creating a wedge for Bailey.
And now Diaz, not a whole lot there for him, down to maybe let's say the 16 with forward progress. It'll be about 3rd and 2.
Yeah, it looked like Delball on the tackle there. But now we'll see we see Bailey come out and Max Karicki go in there. I'd like to see, Max Karicki in front of Cooper Karicki here. Maybe off that left side.
I was thinking a direct snap to Max.
That would be nice, too.
But you'll get what you asked for, Dan.
Just off the right side.
And now we're going to get a late flag here. So the Red Tornadoes will have the first down. It'll depend on what the flag is, of course. Now we're waiting to hear from the official. It's going to be a hold against the Red Tornadoes. Dan, you gave me the...
Just so, something else to note here. We've got number 44, Ryan Widener, back out there again, as 44, and he's in there to replace Karicki now at that fullback spot that we've, over the past 2 years leading up to this year, we became so accustomed to seeing him in.
So it's 3rd and 11 now, but we're under a minute to play here at Kent Memorial. And there's the snap to the up man, and the ball goes down, and Diaz will pick it up and keep possession for the Red Tornadoes. Now, I do believe the Red Tornadoes will have to run another play here. About 8.5, 9 second difference between the play clock and the game clock.
Yeah, which means there's either going to be a first down, a touchdown, or the Indians will get another chance to run one play before this one's over.
Red Tornadoes will stay tight. Spears will let that run as far as he can. He's watching the official to let him know it's inside 5 seconds. They'll give it to Diaz. Diaz will bounce to the outside. He's going to try to come back across the lane. He's still on his feet, and oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
It'll be, they're going to let the clock is run out. We'll see exactly where it stopped, but Diaz will end it on a 31-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and Diaz just left a wake of defenders in his path with the jump cuts there. There was a pile of purple and white jerseys at the 30-yard line as Diaz was crossing the goal line. And what a way to cap this night off.
And so let's officially say it here. I was waiting to see what the officials did with the clock, but the clock has officially run out here, and the Red Tornadoes will improve to 8-2 on the season thanks to a 46-13 victory over the Indians and the 27th consecutive victory in the annual Coal Bucket rivalry.
And what a game it was. And, I mentioned it earlier. I want to say it again. Just a tale of two halves here on both sides of the ball for the Red Tornadoes. The offense, a couple of turnovers in the first half, which kind of held them to only 12 points. And the defense was kind of getting taken to task there in the first half by this Indians offense. They were finding ways to move the ball kind of at will. As we see, the fans are on the field here, and so is the Coal Bucket here, as all the Red Tornadoes are hustling over there to get their picture with it. But just to come out from the halftime, come out from the half, and offensively, you just explode offensively. You just put points on the board on nearly every drive you have the ball in the second half, and then your defense doesn't allow another point. It was an impressive second half turnaround there by the Red Tornadoes all around.
So now, depending on where you're watching this, if you're watching us live, of course, you're not going to know any more than we do, but if you're watching this at some later date, you may know exactly who the Red Tornadoes' opponent is in week one of district playoffs next week, and you may know where and what time and all those other. Well, I can tell you where it'll be at the Silver Bowl. But we'll get through here. Regardless, I think what's important to note again, as we talked about this, is I don't know if you could see it, but there was a lot of kind of handshaking and hugs, and again, all that brotherhood that goes on at the middle of the field. So it's been a good year for the Red Tornadoes. Again, finish 8-2, but tonight, the story, as it has been for a lot of the season, I think, was number 24, Mr. Blessing.
Yeah. I mean, he just had another tremendous day, and again, like you mentioned, we may not be able to get all the stats tonight, but keep an eye on the newspaper tomorrow, and we'll see. I can't imagine he was under 100 yards tonight, and just kind of carried the Red Tornadoes to that comfortable lead that they had there. To well into the third quarter there, and then, got his rest at the end there. Came up a little lame after that what appeared to be a little bit of a late tackle.
Yep.
So all around a great game from Luke Blessing.
Yeah, and it was a great game for the PCN Game of the Week. Again, we just want to thank PCN for letting us be a part of this. I think it's about time to go ahead and sign off for the night. So I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
For Jose Gonzalo, this has been the PCN Game of the Week. This has been broadcast through WKMC TV. We want to thank our local sponsor, Cunningham and Fourth Spring, for all they do, and we certainly want to thank all of you for spending your Friday night with us. So we hope wherever you are, you enjoyed the broadcast. We certainly did, and hope you find a way to join us next week in round 1 of the district playoffs back at the Silver Bowl. So have a great night, and go Big Red.